Hello there. I am so excited to introduce you to Positive Perspectives with me, your host, Angela Tompkins. What is Positive Perspectives, you may ask? Well, it is a series of conversations with people who look like you and me, who work with us, who may go to school with us, we may even see them in the grocery store. The common theme that they have is whatever situation they're going to talk about, we're going to end up at a positive place. I'm excited because it's going to change all of our lives. So I'm excited to extend this invitation to you to join me, your host, Angela Tompkins, for Positive Perspectives. Hello, it's me again. I'm your host, Angela Tompkins, for Positive Perspectives. It's been a minute since we've been together, but that doesn't mean time has stood still, because it never does that. So what have I been doing since we were together last? Well, let me see. I've been living life, getting stronger, making mistakes, learning from them, understanding myself more, reaching out to other people, being hurt, getting over it, and understanding that no matter what, life goes on. So I'm here today with a young lady who I'm so excited to bring to you because I have watched her grow up from a very young lady. Before I start doing her introduction for her, I'm going to bring her in and ask her to introduce herself. But before she does that, I want you all to know I am so proud of this young lady. She has become a mentor to others. She has become a dynamic and influential young woman. And she has a lot that she's going to share with us. We're going to be talking about positive perspective. So let me introduce you to my daughter, Miss Chantel Bennett Robinson. Hello. How are you? I'm so glad to see you.
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm so glad to see you. This is so exciting. You know what the funny thing is? I think about the days when we were back doing Jam Club. Remember those days? And as I was sitting here getting ready for this, I think you were the reason I got stuck with all those kids. I think that was you. So let's start by having you introduce yourself to our audience. I'm sure that they'll be just as excited as I once they find out who you are. So just tell us something about yourself.
Yes, I am Chantel Robinson, and I don't know. What would you like to know? I'm married to the greatest man on this earth, Mr. Johnny Robinson.
But I don't think that I've met him, so something is wrong with this picture. Have I met him? We're going to have to do something about that.
Yeah, we're going to have to fix that.
We're going to have to fix that because you can't be my daughter.
Yeah, we're going to fix that.
We'll have to do it again.
We're going to work on that.
We'll do it again. What I wanted to talk about, Chantel, and thank you for accepting my invitation, blindly accepting my invitation to join and have a conversation with me. It's funny because there are so many people who I know who I want my audience to know, simply because we have to go through life and things happen, good things, bad things, just kind of run of the mill everyday things. And we have to survive. And survival is, wow, it's kind of like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes our survival means we come out crippled a little bit, but we still have to manage and make it. Yes. I know that you're an entrepreneur now, so I want you to tell us about your business, and then I've got some questions for you about that. Tell us what you're doing.
Absolutely. So in April, I finally put feet to a dream that I've had for over 15 years, and I started a greeting card company. And the name is Anchored Expressions. And I make greeting cards, handmade greeting cards for all occasions, anything that you can name. I do those, and I write very personal messages. It won't be the messages that you find in Hallmark or Blue Mountain. They are anchored messages, right?
And so I was going to ask you about the name of your business. So where'd that name come from?
So that name came from it's me. When I am naturally an encourager, naturally somebody that likes to inspire other people. And whatever I say to you, it's based on me being anchored where I am now. There used to be a time that I was not. Okay. And so now I can speak from a strong place because I've been through some stuff. Sure. And so now I can encourage and motivate and inspire and speak to the heart of people for various occasions. So
let's talk about that then. How did you get to the place where you can say that you're anchored? What was there any single event in your life? Were there any specific things that drew you to where you are? What got you anchored?
I would say it's been a number of things, right? Over time. I mean, I was raised in church, right? So all my life, that's all I knew. But then I got outside and
Right.
I dabbled, and I had time to have all these different experiences. But I think after once I entered my 30s,
Hmm.
something started to happen for me, and I became familiar with myself in a different way, and
Okay.
my confidence in myself began to grow. And those experiences that I was having, um, I was learning from them. I wasn't just having the experience any
Okay.
longer. I
Hmm.
was actually learning from them, gathering those nuggets and processing them so I could really understand Chantel, so I can better relate with other people.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
so would you then say that age is more than just a number?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's funny because I
My
can remember
goodness.
each of my children when they turned 18, the eve of their 18th birthday. I think they went to bed thinking something magical was going to happen. And then when they woke
Yeah.
up and felt the same, I think they were disappointed. And so I
Yeah.
think then, even as we start to get a little older and mature, we expect ourselves to be at certain places when we reach certain ages, or we expect ourselves to feel differently or respond differently or react differently, because, of course, there's a huge difference in responding and reacting. But we
Right.
expect, I think, because society tends to make us believe that when you get a
Feel.
certain age, you should start to begin to think this way. How do you feel
Yeah.
about that statement?
I don't think it's just not true. It's just not true. It's not until you I think you gotta go through a little something too.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
big part of it. You've got to go through some things, you've got to experience some things, you got to encounter some people,
Hmm.
you got
Hmm.
to encounter some situations, and then you've got to start to see yourself on the other side of these things.
Right.
And that's when the tide starts to change a little bit. It doesn't just happen because, oh, now I'm 18, or now I'm 21, or
Hmm.
now I'm 30, that you're just going to automatically start to see life differently, see
Right.
yourself different. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
But those experiences, when you let them teach you,
Hmm. Then that's the lesson. Nobody can take that away from you. That's the lesson right there. So let
yes.
me ask you this then. What do you think? Are there people who, before the tide changes, they get to the place just before the tide changes and they give up? What can you say to them?
Absolutely.
Do you imagine that that is so?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say it even happened for myself. Especially if you have fallen into that mindset of I've got to do this, this, and this by
Hmm.
this age,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because for one, we start to see people doing a certain thing and
Oh
think we have
yeah.
to be those people too,
Right.
and they're getting this accomplished by this age.
Hmm.
Like, you're supposed to graduate from college at this age, you're supposed to
Right.
be married by this age, have
Exactly.
so many kids, and I didn't do any of that.
Hmm.
I didn't do
Hmm.
any of it. And
But
there
did
were
you find
times.
yourself comparing yourself to others who did?
Absolutely.
Did
I
you? Yeah.
absolutely did.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for me initially, I started out with people.
Hmm.
I didn't finish with them, right? And
Hmm.
so it does kind of set you back a little bit, and you're like, what happened? Like, why am I not still,
Right.
because we took different paths.
Hmm. Hmm.
And initially, until you get on the other side of it, you think that you've made a mistake.
Right. Right. And I think that for those of us who pay attention to what happens around us, it's easy to get stuck in that spot, thinking I made a
Absolutely.
mistake, and you get stuck there. And the as simply as we can state it, when you get stuck, you don't move. When you get
Right.
stuck, you stay in the same place, and
Yeah.
everybody's still continuing to grow and move around you, but you're stuck.
Yeah.
So, if you could
Yeah.
say to someone who may be watching us today, what would you say to them about how not to get stuck when you see people who started with you moving beyond you?
Everybody's path is different.
Hmm.
Everybody's path is different, and be okay with yours.
Absolutely
Be
right.
okay with it, because the more you chase the race that you think you're supposed to be in, you're going to get tired. That's what causes people to give up. That's what
Say that
causes
again.
people to get sidelined
Mm-hmm.
and feel like they can't move forward
Yeah.
because they are trying to run somebody else's
Right.
race.
Right. And
And
the
it
truth about that is, I think we would both agree that you can't ever be successful running somebody else's race.
no,
Never. No matter how
no,
many times you practice moving like they move, saying what they say. And it's okay to emulate other people, and it's okay to want to be like them, but be like them in your own way. Pick nuggets
right.
from every person that you come in contact with and
But
develop who
let
you
that
are.
complete you. Let that
Yes.
still, let the authenticness, though, let the foundation of who the individual that we end up seeing be
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Right? Because the truth is, everybody else is already taken.
Absolutely right. And I think if we can get young people to understand that, we wouldn't have a lot of the problems we're having right now, because I think a
Yeah.
lot of people, not just young people, because there's some old ones doing the same thing,
I was just about to say.
waste so much time trying to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And I would always tell people, you all, when you were in the group with me, that you can't be them. And the only thing you know about a person is what they allow you to see.
That's
You
right.
don't know who they are outside of your presence.
That's
And
right.
so I think, just keeping that in mind for you, even doing what you're doing and the things you have done, would you say that that has helped you to be as successful as you have been?
Absolutely, because I came to this conclusion, and a lot of people may not agree with me, and I'm all right with it.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as competition.
Right.
I am the only Chantel Robinson
Yes.
that's made up like this. There might be other women named Chantel Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I am the only Chantel Marie Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
And so those places where I'm supposed to be, those things that I'm supposed to do, they are for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what about the people who criticize you for doing you the way you do you?
It's okay. They ain't got nothing to do with their issue.
But they're out there, though. They are out there.
It's quite all. They are there. They are there.
And so
And it's
I think
funny because people don't think that. Most people that know me, they're like, "Oh, you so nice." People don't. There's nobody that dislikes you. I'm like, really?
oh yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah, keep thinking that.
They're absolutely out there.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah, it really is. And I think we have to be okay with knowing it's okay, and
Yeah.
not give so much lip service to, I'm going to say it's okay, but really I'm not feeling that. You've got to internalize the feeling that it's okay not to be liked. It's okay
Because
not to
it
be
doesn't
first.
it doesn't start out okay.
Right.
Right? It doesn't start out okay. It's a lot of times that we'll say we don't care what people say about us, but that's not the truth.
That's not true. Because
We'll say that words don't hurt, but that's not
They
true.
do. They do.
You have to mature to that place.
Yeah. And so a lot of times what ends up happening is you end up having an argument in your head with the person who said the words, or the person who doesn't like you, because you've got to do something with that energy. Because there's energy connected with those feelings of not being liked, of being talked about, or not feeling like you're enough, or not feeling like you're not doing. There's energy connected to that. And so you've got to find something to do that with that energy. So I find myself having the discussion in my head so that I'm okay on the outside. So when I finish arguing in my head with you about whatever it was, whatever the situation was, then I'm okay and I can move forward. That may not work for everybody, but it helps me to get past what I need to get past to continue being what I need to be. So that leads me to a question for you, Chantel, that's very open-ended. And I want you to think about it before you answer it. Okay. And it's very simple. 3 words. Okay. Are you enough? Yeah.
Yep.
That's the question.
Yes.
And why do you say that? It's a deep question.
It is. I've just come to a level of security in who I am. Mm-hmm. All the things I've come to a level of acceptance too of who I am. Mm-hmm. Because that's the thing. I spend a lot of time prior to me getting married,
Mhm.
I spent 5 years dating myself.
What does that mean?
So I literally, all of the things that I desired to try and
Mhm.
do,
Mhm.
I did them by myself.
Really?
I did them, yes, I did them alone. I went on trips by myself. I went to plays by myself. I went to movies by myself. I went to museums, just a number of different things that I desired to do so that I wanted to make sure that I was a complete person
Okay.
going into this a relationship whenever
Okay.
that came.
Okay.
But I I really got a chance to know myself, and I love her.
So was
I
that scary
enjoy her.
though? Was that
It
scary though?
was. It was. And you know what? Um, but as time went on, I got more and more comfortable being in those spaces,
Okay.
wanting to do those things. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I
And so
really
I guess
enjoyed it.
so does that mean you started to enjoy your company? You started
Yes.
to enjoy yourself? Did you
Hmm.
before? Can you say that you did before?
I hadn't ever really spent
Yeah.
intentional
Yeah.
time with me before. I was always either in a relationship or running with my friends,
Mhm.
but and that's the kind of thing that makes you wonder if you really know yourself, because a lot
Right.
of times we're just going with the crowd or
Mhm.
going with doing things that other people want to do. That's how we get messed up, right?
Yeah. 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 Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I had to learn myself. I
Mhm.
had to learn myself what things I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, what I would tolerate, what I would not tolerate. I
Mhm.
learned all of those boundaries.
Mhm.
That's where I learned to create them in my relationships with other people. You
Okay.
have to do it with you too.
Okay.
And we don't think about those kind of things.
So did you lose any friends during that time or did you
Yes,
gain friends during that time?
both.
Really?
Hmm.
And what
Yeah.
do you think was the reason for losing? What was the reason?
I lost because some of the things that I had been doing, I stopped
Okay.
because I was in a certain circle. And so I was doing those things that the circle did,
Right.
but those weren't really the things that Chantel desired to do.
Okay. Okay.
And I I always say, I'm a little different, right? The things that I enjoy may be a little different. And so I always kind of felt like I was a little weird in comparison to other people. So I was like, I need to, but I'm okay with that. So I need to be doing those things that I truly
Mhm.
enjoy, those
Mhm.
things that are fulfilling to me, those things that are growing me, developing me. All of that, all of this who that really makes up who I am. Those
Mhm.
are the things I desire to experience from this day forward.
Wow.
And that's what I set my feet to.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it.
Wonderful. Okay, so now that's you lost some because you weren't hanging with the group you were hanging with before, but you gained some. And what was that like?
My people.
And how did you find them? How did they find you? Because you're doing your own thing now. So how do you find them?
Yeah, but when you go out, and I can be an introvert, but when I'm
Mhm.
in a space where I feel comfortable, I'm good with talking to people that I've never met before. And so that opened up another side of me too, right?
Okay.
So maybe that wasn't something that I would do in another scene, but
Mhm.
because I was in a space where I was feeling like this is an area where I can thrive. I met all sorts of people
Okay.
and just made these different connections. And that's actually how I got back into theater.
Okay. Okay. And I was gonna
Yeah.
go, we're gonna get into that after a while too. And so let's kind of take that open-ended question I gave you a little earlier and make it real for other people who may be listening who are like, I don't know if I can do all of that. And am I enough? I don't know. What is it about Chantel today that makes you enough?
Me being authentically who I am.
Okay.
Me being all of my flaws,
Mm-hmm.
all the good, bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have embraced everything about me, even those things that I don't necessarily like,
Oh,
those
sure.
things that I desire to
Mm-hmm.
change,
Mm-hmm.
they are still a part of who
Right.
I am.
Exactly.
And I've
Exactly.
embraced them all. I have embraced, and guess what? It doesn't happen overnight, right? And
Yeah.
it's a process, but that's where the treasure is,
Yeah.
in that process
Yeah.
of pursuing yourself
Yeah.
to make sure that you're a whole person
Yeah.
before you allow someone else in the space to come and try to define you
Yeah.
and complete you and all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. I was already enough before I sat at any table.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, if you were talking to other young people, this would be an amazing message for them because you know as well as I do that young women customarily or often look for someone to complete them. And your
Right.
message to them would be, baby, you complete by yourself.
By
You just need someone to
yourself.
complement your completeness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You should always be at 100%.
Yes, yes. And that's kind of like people talking about marriage is 50-50. Nope. If you only got
No,
50% of me, baby, you don't have all of me. So it's
right.
100-100. But I think,
Exactly.
going forward in helping us to become better people, men and women, we have to know that us being complete and satisfied in our completion is us already winning the game. And
Yeah.
then when we can find someone who complements that, we can tackle the world together. So then
I'm
when you got
telling
into
you.
your relationship with the person you ended up marrying, you're already fortified and strong. So you guys got to be winners because you're looking for someone who has the same
That's
characteristics as you do.
that's right. That's
It's an
right.
amazing life that we live, and it's an amazing series of events that we have to go through to help us to understand and feel like we are who we were intended to be. And this is
Yeah.
not even spiritual. This is just everyday life. You
Everyday
have to
life.
work on being your best self 100% of the
Yes.
time. And
In
in
every
that
area.
100%, there's going to be some bad and ugly stuff, but you still got to be your best self. And sometimes your
Absolutely.
best self is you got to say some stuff to some people that they didn't expect you to say.
Exactly.
I'm not just being real. I'm just gonna have to say this
Absolutely.
and forgive me and pardon me, but I need you to know that you just stepped on my toe.
Right.
As opposed to you stepping on my toe and I'm gonna walk off and go cry in the corner and you gone on down the street, my toe hurts.
Been there, done that. No, you're going to know that you stepped on my toe.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
It's important. It is so important. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Chantel, I'm proud of you for the woman that you've become, and I'm proud to have been a part of your growing up.
Yes.
And I don't remember whether I was Mama Angie or Miss Angie or who I
Miss
was to
Andrew,
you.
I'm part of the
The
original Miss
original,
Andrews
that's
kids.
right. And we had some amazing times together.
We
And believe
did.
it or not, most of the people who you all grew up with are still in contact with me, and most of them are doing wonderful things. And I'm
Oh,
going to have the
yes.
chance to talk to many of them in this same kind of forum. But I could not pass the opportunity to have you come on and share with us about who you are and why you do what you do. And so the name of the show is Positive Perspectives. And if you could close out with one thing with that in mind, what would you share? And remember, even back in Jam Club, I put people on the spot, right?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
No matter like what obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
whatever like you might be facing, whatever you come up against, know that you're strong enough and just stay on the course. Keep pursuing. You will get on the other side of what you are facing today. All of that stuff has an expiration date. All of it.
But for the person who's listening to this who would say, but I've been on the race a long time and I'm not there yet. What do you say to that person?
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. Like the truth is, none of us are there yet.
Right.
We are all still going.
There you go.
So
There you
just
go.
keep going,
Yes.
keep going
Yeah.
and enjoy. Don't forget to, along the way, like, celebrate all of those small victories, all of them.
Oh, that's so important.
Don't let one of them go unnoticed. Like, clap,
Yep.
Run, yell, shop,
Yep.
whatever it is that you do to celebrate that victory, celebrate it.
That's
And
right.
that'll encourage you to keep going, keep winning, because you'll get there.
You are
It's
so
a
right. Now,
process.
remember one thing I used to say to you all when we were doing things: if nobody else ever claps for you, baby, you better learn how to clap for yourself,
Clap for
because
yourself.
you are amazing. And I take
Yes.
that with me to this day. If nobody ever claps for me, I'm going to
Yes.
clap by myself, for myself,
Yes.
until I get tired of clapping. I'm just going to clap for me, because I am worth it. You're worth
Yeah.
it. We're worth it. Our guests
Yeah.
are worth it. We are worth it. So if nobody claps for you, Miss Chantel said, baby, you better clap for yourself. And on
You
that
better know
note,
it.
Chantel, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, and I look forward to all the great things that you're going to do.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. This is me once again. Thank you so much for joining us for Positive Perspectives. This is me, Angela Tompkins. Just finished talking to my girl, Chantel Bennett Robinson. I have to remember all of that. She is an amazing woman. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Positive Perspectives. You can email me at positiveperspectives with 2 S's at gmail.com. We're also on YouTube. We want you to like, share, and follow. I think I said that right. But we want to hear from you. Let us know what you think about this conversation, and we look forward to seeing you the next time. Remember this: if nobody else claps for you, baby, you better clap for yourself. I love you and can't wait to see you next time.